if DNA tests prove that she was your birth mother.
If she is my mother, biological mother, it's, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. If she's my mother, I don't want to have a contact with her.
Did anyone notice when Julia Wandelt appeared in Dr. Phil, the little toy that she's holding in her hands? Looks a little bit like Cuddle Cat, doesn't it?
I got nightmares in my head, I fear thoughts build up until I can't feel. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science. According to The Guardian, the prosecutor outlined how Julia had turned up at Leicester Police Station and claimed to remember being abducted from the apartment in Praia da Luz in 2007. She described someone injecting her with something that made her feel paralyzed. Now, although that claim may be bogus, the idea behind it of a sedative being used on the night Madeleine disappeared, well, that may not be bogus. Before we get to the rest of this analysis, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Bear in mind I've written a trilogy of books on this particular case, as well as 2 books, Deep into Darkness and Deeper into Darkness. I'll put links to those books in the description. If you're finding this analysis worthwhile, please do hit the thanks button and let's get started. So we're in for a long haul. This is going to be a 5-week trial. And according to the Sun, well, it's been fireworks from the beginning. This young woman who claims to be the McCann's missing daughter, Madeleine, actually accosted Madeleine's mother at their home in Leicestershire. Have a look at this. Recordings played to the court captured the moments they approached the couple, with Kate heard to say, "You are causing us a lot of distress. Now stop it." Mr. Duck told the court Kate was noted by her husband as being visibly upset by the actions of the woman, that's Julia, and her alleged accomplice, and the incident caused both to be more vigilant when unfamiliar cars were seen in the vicinity of their home. It was the plainest of intrusions, and the fear it caused was inevitable. It's highly doubtful Julia or her alleged accomplice will be able to mount much of a defense, certainly based on what we know at this stage, since their own words basically implicate them. Because if you read between the lines, recordings played to the court made by the woman, right, captured the moments they approached the couple. So these are their own recordings that are getting them into trouble. Their own words basically implicate them pretty clearly in a coordinated scheme to get the McCann's attention. Before the confrontation, Sprague allegedly messaged a friend to say, "We are sat outside the McCann's home waiting for them to come home. We are sat like private investigators with car lights out. I never thought I would be stalking the McCanns. XXX. Who would want these two sitting on their doorstep all day?" There really isn't a lack of evidence in this case. Everything from calls, not just one, but up to 60 in one day, texts, posts, even handwritten notes. According to the BBC, one particular day, Ms. Wandelt left a handwritten note on the family's doorstep asking for a DNA test, the court heard. Before leaving the country, the jury was told she visited Charing Cross Police Station in London, where a DNA sample was taken but later destroyed. Now, I do wonder, was that sample from Julia or was it from someone else? Ms. Wandel began to spread the net and seek contact with people she felt were close to the McCanns, including David Payne, who, with his wife Fiona, who was, like Kate McCann, also an anaesthetist, had been with them on the night Madeleine went missing in Portugal on 3rd May 2007. David Payne actually visited Kate shortly before they went out to dinner. What's frankly quite surprising about this case is how long it took for charges to be brought. It seems Julia even reached out to some members, as you've heard there, of the original Tupper 7. According to the BBC, the messaging became vitriolic, with Mrs. Sprague contacting police investigators and saying, "Everyone knows the McCanns are guilty and you know the truth and a massive cover-up is happening." That is apparently what she told to law enforcement. The pair discussed pretty extraordinary plans, including going through bins from the McCann's address to find a DNA sample, the jury heard. Mr. Duck said, The ends to which they were prepared to go were remarkable. This was not going to stop. Now, who knows whether they were trying to take a leaf out of the Koberger case. We know in that case, that's literally where the police got their evidence, literally from, I think, garbage bins outside the Koberger home in Pennsylvania. A similar thing happened in the Rex Huerman case, where they got a discarded pizza in a pizza box that was also thrown in a trash can not far from Rex Huerman's office, and that's how they got his DNA. So one wonders whether they took a leaf out of those cases. I'm not sure whether the law as it applies to DNA evidence is the same in the UK as it is in the USA. I suspect it might not be. But the amount of harassment from these two, and much of the evidence seems to be from their own phones, texts, and social media posts, it really does seem to be next level, doesn't it? According to the BBC, in late 2024, the Kurt heard how Ms. Wandel flew to the East Midlands airport to be greeted by Mrs. Sprague, with the car she was driving tracked via automatic number plate recognition to the Ibis Hotel in Birstall, then on to Rothley. CCTV showed the car near to the family's home. Mrs. McCann arrived home first and was accosted by Ms. Wandel, who tried to stop Madeleine's mother from entering her property, while she said Mrs. Sprague had been aggressive. Inside, she called her husband. Kate McCann called Gerry, while the defendants continued to bang on the front door. Pretty dramatic scenes, right? When Mr. McCann arrived, they tried to force a letter into his hand. Mr. Duck said it was the plainest of intrusions and the fear it caused was inevitable. But then, as soon as charges are brought, it invites a whole lot of scrutiny into the McCanns, something the McCanns obviously want to avoid. What's very interesting with this idea of Julia wanting them to give her a DNA sample is that there did seem to be something hinky going on, certainly in Portugal. When the cops in Portugal wanted a DNA sample of Madeleine, they literally couldn't find one anywhere. Do you guys know that? Not even in Madeleine's bed, not even in her bedroom, nowhere in Portugal. Does that seem a little strange to you? Ultimately, they apparently sourced Madeleine's DNA from a pillow or hairbrush at her home in Leicestershire. Anyone remember these headlines? McCann DNA evidence exaggerated. And have a look at the date, Tuesday, 5 August 2008. The parents of Madeleine McCann have accused police in Portugal of exaggerating DNA evidence before naming them suspects in her disappearance. A UK forensic scientist had already warned DNA in their hire car was inconclusive. Inconclusive doesn't mean it's not a match. It simply means they're not sure. Look at this headline. This is from 2019. Why a UK lab failed to solve critical McCann DNA samples. Then this from 2008. Kate and Gerry McCann gain hope from Portuguese police inquiry files. And this is the particular part you want to look at. The papers have already revealed that detectives claimed Madeleine's DNA was found in her parents' hire car, even though British forensic scientist John Lowe warned the tests were inconclusive. 4 days later, Portuguese detectives named the McCanns as suspects and categorically told Mr. McCann that DNA had been discovered. Look at this from 9 News. Madeleine McCann, Scotland Yard silent over top DNA. Look at this from the Evening Standard. Madeleine, how the police ruined the forensic evidence. This from June 2020. Maddie McCann, police clash over sharing DNA evidence. Experts dispute claim that DNA shows body of missing Madeleine had been in boot of hire car. That's from September 2007. Sample is a full match to girl, police sources claim. Well, was it ultimately true? New doubts over Madeleine DNA. The Observer can exclusively reveal the forensic samples were incomplete and degraded, raising a new round of concerns over the police inquiry. That's from September 2007. And in a sense, this really is or was the key to the mystery of Madeleine McCann's disappearance. If that DNA that was found had been conclusively proven to be Madeleine, I think this whole case, this whole story would have turned out very differently. In any event, the trial continues. I'm not going to take it further than that. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.